The Lobster ending raises a number of questions about the dark romantic comedy, including whether Colin Farrell's character David stabbed and intentionally blinded himself or not. The 2015 movie from director Yorgos Lanthimos is a surreal story about a lonely man named David who joins a matchmaking service that motivates people to find love by turning single people into animals. After escaping from the facility, David joins a rebel group that fights against the need for romantic couples only for him to meet and fall for the short-sighted woman played by Rachel Weisz. The Yorgos Lanthimos movie climaxes with David once again fleeing an oppressive society when the short-sighted woman is blinded for falling in love. The final scene finds David and the short-sighted woman in a diner struggling to find something in common, only for David to retreat to the bathroom with a knife to blind himself so that the couple can be the same. The Lobster ending shows David attempting to stab himself in the eyes but hesitating a few times before the screen goes black. It's an ambiguous ending that never answers whether David goes ahead with his gruesome plan. The world of The Lobster explained. Yorgos Lanthimos created a bizarre dystopia where people are turned into animals. Released in 2015, The Lobster was Yorgos Lanthimos' first English-language feature and received an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay. Original is a perfect word to describe The Lobster. It's set in a dystopian society in which being single is against the law. People who become single are sent to a hotel populated by fellow singletons where they have 45 days to find a partner based on shared characteristics, or else they are turned into an animal of their choosing. That's the predicament newly divorced, short-sighted David, Colin Farrell, finds himself in as he arrives at the hotel with his dog Bob in tow, who used to be his human brother, and ups to be turned into a lobster if he doesn't find love in the allocated time. The strange, relationship-obsessed dystopia does have a rebel movement, however. Calling themselves the Loners, the group lives in the woods and strictly forbids any type of romantic relationship. David eventually joins the rebel faction where he meets another loner, Rachel Weisz, who is short-sighted like him. They begin a secret relationship and plan on running away together until the leader of the Loners, Leah Seydoux, blinds the short-sighted woman as punishment for their betrayal. The Lobster is sometimes considered one of Colin Farrell's best movies, and the star offered his own take on the ending of The Lobster in an interview with EW. He thinks there are three options: David blinds himself, he simply leaves without telling the short-sighted woman, or he doesn't go through with blinding himself but tells the woman he did. The Lobster's ending leaves it up to viewers to decide what course David takes and highlights the impossibility of the choice he faces. Why David blinds himself in The Lobster. The desperate measures people take to find a match. The hotel in the early part of The Lobster pairs people up based on their superficial characteristics. As David is short-sighted, he is encouraged to pair with short-sighted women, under the theory that they will have something in common. The warped incentives of the system can be seen when John, Ben Whishaw, damages his nose in an attempt to be paired with a woman who suffers from nosebleeds. While David ends up escaping the hotel, he still ends up following their ideas, whether consciously or not. He ends up seeking a pairing with a short-sighted woman, a trait so important it is used in the script in place of her name. When Leah Seydoux's loner leader blinds the woman, David finds that he doesn't actually have that much in common with her and struggles to make conversation. David has placed great importance on this relationship, risking his life to escape from the Loners, and now that he has returned to society, it seems likely he will just end up back at the hotel if he and the woman go their separate ways. The idea of blinding himself, echoing John's courtship of the nosebleed woman earlier in the film, reflects his desperation to make the relationship work, as well as the fatal shallowness of thinking of romance as merely a matching of similarities, which helps to explain the ending of the dark romance movie Why and how single people are made into animals in The Lobster. The process might not even be real. The absurd premise of The Lobster with the idea of loveless humans being transformed into animals is a process that nobody seems to question the workings of. Within the magic realism of Yorgos Lanthimos' movie, this transformation into animals stands in for the importance society places on romantic coupling or amatonormativity. Long-term single people are perceived as leftover, or in some sense less fully human than those in relationships, hence, in The Lobster they are literally made into subhuman animals.